Hey, what's up? It's Tony from Street Church. Welcome to the Inside Job podcast today. Hey, I got a couple questions for you. Who in your sphere of influence needs to be encouraged? Who in your world needs some help? Who in your world is going through something and could really use a blessing in their life? I'm sure you can think of somebody, right? So the next question I have is the important one. Ready? If not you, then who? Right? Like, if not you, then who is going to be that source of encouragement or help or blessing in their lives? Right? We inherently we like to focus on what we can't do, where we can't go, on our limitations, right? That's the natural way that we all bend to, right? I mean, listen, I'm 5'8.5". I'm giving myself that half on a good day, which means I'm never going to be able to dunk a basketball, even though I would really love to be able to, right? It's just not happening. Limitations. I'm pretty slow, always have been pretty slow, never been super fast, never gonna win any 100-yard dashes. It's just not happening. Limitations. But that's okay, right? Because we weren't meant to be the be all, and we weren't meant to do everything and to be everything to all people. But we were created to see a need and to meet a need by doing something. You know, Jesus in Matthew chapter 25 says, I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. He never said that you gave me everything on your plate, right? He said, you gave me something to eat. He said, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. And we could all see a need, meet a need, and do something. That's what we were created for, right? Matthew chapter 5, what Jesus says here, well, actually, it's what he does not say to me that's so significant. Let me just read it to you. So in Matthew chapter 5, it's the Sermon on the Mount, and he says this in verses 13 and 14. If I can find it. He says this. He says, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? And then he says, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. So let me read that again. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. What makes this so powerful is because what Jesus did not say, right? He didn't say that one day, if you roll up your sleeves and try really hard, you can be the salt of the earth. He didn't say that, one day if you learn enough or if you go to enough Bible studies, then maybe you can become the light of the world, right? He didn't say you will be, you might be, you could be. He said you already are. What resides in you, you have everything it takes to be a source of light and to be a source of salt in people who need help, who are going through it, who are hurting, who are suffering, right? You are. And notice this is early on in his ministry. So his disciples there, just like you and me, well, maybe not you, but definitely me, we're all jammed up. I mean, they had issues. They had stuff going on, right? They were less than polished. Let's just say that, right? But Jesus said, in that state, in the less than polished state, in the right where you are, in the not being what you should be yet, you are right now my source of salt and light. And listen, I'm a nice Italian boy, so salt always makes things better. And light always makes things brighter. So John Maxwell said that. I didn't say it, so I ripped it off. But it's true, right? Salt always makes things better, and light always makes things brighter. And what the encouragement is this, right? Is we don't have to wait, right? Like we don't have to get a degree and put it on our wall before we decide to see a need, meet a need, do something, and be a source of light in somebody's life who needs to be encouraged, who needs to be helped, who is going through something. And and that source of light and that source of salt might look like, it comes in all different sizes and shapes, right? It could be a ride. It could be you providing a ride for somebody to the doctor who doesn't have money for an Uber, right? And that'll make things better and brighter for them, right? Even in a small way. It could be for being willing to listen to somebody who is going through something and needs to vent, who needs to get angry and just vent, or maybe even needs to cry about something, right? You're just shutting your lips and being willing to listen for 10 to 15 minutes. And I can guarantee you that if you do that, that'll make things better and that'll make things brighter for them, right? It's all about doing something. It could be sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. That's always a way to be and to distribute salt and light into somebody's life, right? But it comes in all shapes and sizes. And the great encouragement here for me are the words of Jesus. You are. Now you will be, now you might be, or now you could be if you do X, Y, and Z. You are. And for me, that means this. It means you and I don't have to wait around, right? To meet a need that we see in our world. If not you, who? If not me, who? We are God's plan A. There is no plan B. We are it. If not you, who? So next week we are going to chat about a man, a very unlikely man, who Jesus sent out in a very unpolished place in his life to be a source of salt and light. And who probably said to himself, if not me, who? So one for the road. Here you go. Something to put in your back pocket, right? You don't have to be all that and a bag of chips in order to be salt and light and to meet a need. Amen? All right. Until next week, have a great day.